everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris.
It's Friday. We're reading in triplicate.
We are. We both have things to show. Yes.
I am reading the Hell's Bells series. Which way do I go? This is the way I go. By Sarah MacLean. The Hell's Bells are women living in Victorian-era London, and they're given patriarchy hell. And I've started with the first book in the series, which is Bombshell. You can see I'm a little ways in. And this is about Cecily, otherwise known as Sexily. And people think she kind of goes off with men and does men and women things, but actually she's setting these men straight in various ways. That's what's happening so far in Bomb Shelter. But there is a man, Caleb, that is from Boston in the United States, and he spends time in London. He is Cecily's sister's co-owner of a pub, so he comes back and forth, and they have a thing for each other, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Oh, the sister's husband?
No, sister's partner, like business partner.
Oh, business partner.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was
business
just like,
partner.
Wow.
Partners, it's important to be clear what kind of partner we're talking about. Yeah, so these are romance novels. Chris and I spent some time this weekend at Yale University for a romance workshop weekend.
It was fabulous. It was a romance conference. The Literature of Hope was the title of it, and we learned a lot about romance. I don't think either of us are heavy romance readers, or we haven't been. We've read some here and there, but we just learned so much about the importance of the genre. I was aware of the financial importance of it, but one thing I took away was just the empowerment of women.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
In this genre.
Yeah, and this series is an example of that. So the first book in the series is Bombshell. The second book is Heartbreaker. And the one that just came out this month is Knockout. This is getting starred reviews everywhere. Yes. Sarah MacLean is known for having women with real bodies in her novels, and also for smashing the patriarchy with her female characters. One of the really important things we learned about romance, because I too don't know much about it, but about the genre, is how important HEAs are, which are happily ever afters.
HEAs are a must for romance books, which makes sense.
Yeah, and so I'm only, 100 pages into this one, and I'm waiting. I want Caleb and Cecily to get together.
They haven't had sex yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm currently in a scene where they got in a big fight. There's a lot of fighting. Like, there was just a barroom brawl, and Cecily kicked the out of somebody.
Wow. So not just arguments, but physical.
Yes.
Okay.
And she got in a little bit of trouble physically, and so Caleb was trying to take her home and ended up at his home. So we'll see how that turns out. I was hoping for a little and it hasn't happened yet.
All right.
So, but I fell asleep last night reading, so I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
All right.
Again, Sarah MacLean and her Hell's Bells series. I'll show them to you.
More to come on that.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. Oh, Chris, I love you so. What you got?
So I have 3 soccer romances. They're lesbian romances. And I first came upon Cleat Cute was the first one that caught my attention. And this is by Meryl Wilsner, who she's from Michigan originally. And I think I've mentioned this one before. Let's see. I'm on page 101, and my characters have had some action.
Ooh.
So this is about 2 women who are soccer players professionally. One has just graduated from college and is on her first professional team down in New Orleans. Before she gets down there, she gets a call from the U.S. national coach saying, "We'd like to invite you to come to camp." So she goes to the camp. It's like a week-long thing. And there she meets her hero, a woman who's been kind of like the darling of the U.S. national team for 10 years, And they're also on the same team in New Orleans, but they have this week together. So it's kind of like the cocky young thing and the older, more established, famous player who is, body's starting to break down a little bit, being a professional player. So more to come on that one. So, it was just the World Cup. Was a very recent thing. And I had discovered this next writer, Claire Lydon. She has a podcast that she does with TB Markinson, who I've known TB from Goodreads. She's an American who has lived in England. I don't know if she's still there, but Claire is English. She's married to an Australian woman, and they're all soccer fans. So this one, I should say, Cleat Cute's all U.S. soccer players. Hotshot is, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I got the right thing. I made a little note for myself. So it's about a U.S. hotshot player who comes to the U.K. And her life seems to be really perfect. Everything's going great. Her life falls apart. And then a new hire on the British football team kind of, upsets things and romance ensues. Yeah. So Claire and TB, their podcast is called Lesbians Who Write. And they had an episode where they were chatting about soccer.
Oh, fun.
Football, because it was the World Cup. Some more to come on that one. And then the last book is Onside Play by Liz Rain. And this is, I was looking for this because I thought it would be fun to have a third lesbian romance novel to read about soccer. Have a little, made up trilogy of my own. I'm not a huge soccer fan. I love Ted Lasso. But soccer in my community, I'm of a certain age. I graduated high school in 1984. And the high school didn't start a soccer team until 1985. So other than watching some games on TV with my mom on the Spanish language channel in Chicago that would broadcast games, I didn't have much experience with soccer, but I love it. I think it's fascinating to watch. This one, Liz is from Australia. And this book it opens in Melbourne. And the protagonist of the novel, who's the soccer player, is in bed with this hot international pop singer. And so she's kind of, what do they call her? They call her a knockabout. She's a knockabout as the soccer player is. So I'm really looking forward to this one too. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of them. And I made a note here that Liz Rain taught English in Japan for a while, and she had joined a soccer team there to meet women, and the coach of the team was an American who is now her wife. So
that worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out really well. So lesbians in soccer / football, these are the three that I will be reading this weekend / next week.
I can't wait to hear about it. I was very much a soccer mom. Both my kids played soccer, but I also came from a town, Yellow Springs, Ohio, where we were very heavy into soccer way back in the day, and always had a recreational soccer league, had a women's high school team back in the 70s and 80s, which was really unusual. Yeah. So yeah, I love, love, love soccer. I can't wait to hear what you think of those. And I wonder if a knockabout is similar to a knockout.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
To find out. We're learning so much about the romance genre.
We are.
So, we always want to hear what you're reading, but this week in particular, please, you folks who read romance, we would love to hear about some of your favorite authors, or if you have a favorite subgenre of romance, because that's kind of a cool thing. These are historical romances that Emily's reading. These are sports romances that I've been reading. I've come across some lesbian basketball romances as well. So I'd be really curious.
Yeah, and also if you're reading any series, we'd like to know about series. And I should have mentioned one of your authors is a podcaster. Sarah MacLean is half of the Fated Mates podcast.
Oh, cool.
So if you want to listen to a romance podcast, that could be a place to go. Let us know. You want to show your titles one more time? Let us know what you're reading down below. We hope you get tons of reading time this weekend.
Absolutely. Happy
Happy
reading.
reading.